Yo, how's everybody doing? I don't know if anybody's out there right now. I put out my statement that I'd be going live 6:30, so we're gonna wait 5 minutes before starting the Manabase stuff. For now, I'm looking at where'd it go? Oh, it's over here. I'm looking at spoilers. Not gonna be any goblins in this set, it looks like. There's one cool spoiler, Riveteer's Ascendancy. I'm not sure how good it is, but it's something to look at. You can't just dismiss it. Your creature has double strike as long as 2 or more equipment are attached to it. So you get it, you give it 2 brass knuckles in it. Oh, because when you cast it, you get 2 brass knuckles. Alright, neat. You have to equip both. What a weird... A lot of cool little edge cases there. You cast it, you get both, you equip one, you try to equip the second one, they kill it, you've wasted both mana. Why would you equip one to 2 different things? Because I guess you could have brass knuckles and a sword. Neat. I'm gonna look at the ones I haven't seen before talking about Riveteer's Assembly. Chaldaya Strongarm. This is one of those secret legendaries that sounds like it should have a comma there. There's an opposite secret legendary too. Errant something. I'll pull it up in a minute. Glittering Stockpile. Put a stash counter on it. Wait a second. You get to add mana and put a stash counter on it? So this is a reference to the old storage lands. But ooh, it also has the type treasure. Very interesting. Here's a storage land. Oh no, this isn't a storage land. No, they don't have the storage lands, but that's fine. I can't remember the names of them either. Otherwise I'd pull it up. You can control target creature. Create a treasure. They've done things like this before. Whenever civil servant attacks, you may tap another citizen. You do. Gets a lifelink and +1/+1. This one's neat. I read this one earlier. Corpse Explosion. Exile a creature card. Deals damage to the card's power to each creature in Planeswalker. A looting deck would be neat. You know, loot like Gristlebrand away. Board wipe. This is Hideaway? Yeah. This is like... dumb. It's a limited card, maybe. Whenever it attacks, create a 1/1 devil. With when this creature dies, deal 1/1 damage. Alright. Got Blitz. So you can make it take a dive and then you draw a card. And then the coach comes with it too. I like that. I like boxers taking a dive with Blitz. If Crew Supervisor enters the battlefield this turn, it has Indestructible. It's a hasty 4/2. They used to call a 4/2 Giant Cockroach. I wonder if... what's the name? Crew Supervisor? Doubt they're going to be called Supervisors now, but that's funny. Nope. Oh, I got Cement Shoes. +3/+3. Beginning of your end step, tap this creature. This is dumb. This is like the worst flavor of any equipment I've ever seen. Cement Shoes should tap a creature immediately. The way you're going to use this in Limited is you're going to equip your attacker with the Cement Shoes. You're going to equip your blocker with it. Oh, I guess you can't equip your blocker. Yeah, you're just going to... I don't know. You can't equip your blocker with it. But you can just like make your... so with 2 creatures though, you can pass the shoes back and forth. It's kind of dumb. Like you can you can shovel your shoes over to like somebody with a pacifism on them. I don't know if pacifism's in this set, but we'll see. Bad. Overcosted to matter. Hold for ransom. Here's the pacifism. Hold for ransom's controller sat and draws a card. All right, you can pay the ransom. The creature's controller should have the opportunity to kill it at any point. What everybody on Twitter is complaining about. All this nonsense treasure being generated. Plasma jockey, sure. Assassin. I should have known it was an assassin. But kind of wanted it to be a rogue and be excited about it. Connive is a neat one. I like Connive. Connive is explore, but in black and red. Bazi? These are commander cards. Darling of the Masses, Elegant Entourage, Pretty Courtyard. I like these things. I don't know why they made them, but it's like you can't get brainstorm value off of them, but you do have to shuffle your deck. You still could get brainstorm value off of them. You just have to make the decision now what you want. Like very much a digital design so that it doesn't stop at every chance that you get priority. Body dropper I've seen. This card has the dumbest flavor. I don't... The cement shoes probably beats it in terms of dumb flavor. Cement shoes that you can pass around. But when another creature enters the battlefield, target creature and opponent controls can't block this turn. What does that mean? What does that have to do with playing music? Like, when this enters the battlefield, target creature shouldn't be able to block, right? If the idea is that they're stopping to listen. But somehow the soloist's accompaniment is doing something. And then the second time it resolves in a turn, you goad the creature as if this guy gets extra annoying, but I don't even understand. The flavor makes zero sense. Unlicensed Hurts is neat. Death Touch and gives all creatures Death Touch. Okay. Obscura Initiate. Fatal Grudge is alright. This is the one that everybody's upset about. It makes treasures when you tap lands. Your lands have tap create a treasure. So it's like Omnath, but better, I guess. Street of what? Nope, Treasure Trap. This is an Amazon sponsored card. That used to be an Amazon thing. Treasure Truck. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, create a treasure token for each artifact they control. Okay. The 5/5, right? It says 3/3 here, but that's like a transcription error, I guess. Yeah, the angel's bad. Guy's flavor also makes no sense. I don't know. They're like really close on a lot of the flavor, but just enough that it doesn't make sense. Witty Insulter. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, Witty Insulter deals 1 damage to each opponent. So I can't even make it make sense with the picture, to be honest. I thought this was a heckler. So the heckler would be the Witty Insulter, but he's the one taking damage. This guy's on stage. I don't know. I don't like it. I mean, I like the card. It's neat. I know the flavor is like, what? Is this the, is this Destiny's Child? I think it is. What was that movie? It wasn't Destiny's Child. What's 6:33? I'm going to start the mana thing now. But, what was the movie with Beyonce in it? Golden something? I don't know. I don't remember. Okay. I want to look at... Where's the reverse? the reverse legendary. Because if I'm going to be commenting on these spoilers and I mentioned it, I should show it. Here it is. Yeah, it's not. I thought it was like a translation error. No, errant street artist. This is not. This is just a word. Errant. Maybe it's not spelled that way, but there is no reason that this is legendary. Is that the joke? Like, she's supposed to be Banksy, but like, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. Why this is legendary? Is it a balance thing? Not sure. Anyway, 635. Let's get into this mana thing. Okay, so the last video I made, I got a comment on it asking me about why I use the double face cards. And I get comments on it. I've gotten them from Joker. I've gotten them from other people. They don't like the double face cards. So I have two answers to that. Number one, it doesn't matter. And number two, our mana is there are considerations that they are not taking into account. You can do whatever you want. That's what I'm telling you. Just straight out the gate. But I made this little slideshow for Black Red Goblins mana. Spoiler alert, it's perfect. So who am I? Why am I allowed to talk about this? What authority do I have? I understand the statistics that the people use to do this stuff. So I've I won't say thoroughly vetted, but I understand what they're doing. I see their methods. I can tell you when they're wrong. And I know how to use the tools that they've made. We're going to use this tool throughout this. But Frank Carson has famous articles that are now behind paywalls, where he goes over how many colored sources you need in a deck to be able to reliably cast those cards on whatever turn it is. And he does a simulation. He has rules, assumptions that go into building his model, because it's very difficult to get it perfect. His assumptions are you mulligan. Well, we'll get to his assumptions in a minute, actually. But know that, number one, these are all the resources we used. This is his old one. The newest, you can find that one on Google, but his newest one, where he ups his ratings to 95% to try and be even more, basically just so they could put it behind a paywall. He put no new information in it. But that won't be here, but it exists. I've read it. I don't remember where. I think it wasn't behind a paywall, and then when Channel Fireball released Pro, they put it there. But there's old Reddit posts. There's a whole bunch of people that used his work while it was public to make their own programs. A couple of the best ones are here. You can see I still have them up here. From when I was making... I guess you can't see that? No, you can. It's cut off. Whatever. From when I was making this. So, a lot of very smart people have poured over this. They have agreements, disagreements, whatever. I've kind of synthesized it to get at what we care about as Black Red, or maybe even Jund, but Goblins players. So first, we have to talk about what goes into these. There's a lot of hyper-geometric calculations that are going on behind the scenes in all of these things. Some people shortcut that by doing millions of simulations. This is the mathematical way to do it. You can use the hypergeometric calculator. Why do we think 2 and 3? I make an assertion here. 2 and 3 land hands are ideal. Why? Well, if you look at our deck list, our nut draw that we're trying to support, because Modern is a nut draw format, is Conspicuous Snoop, Boggart Harbinger. That's our turn 3 kill. There's no reason we're keeping anything with less than 2 lands. In fact, almost every mulligan, almost every mana calculator assumes that you're mulliganing 1 land hands, and you should be. Even if they have Aether Vial at this point, you should be mulliganing most 1 land hands. So we want 2 and 3 land hands. 3 land hands are ideal because Boggart Harbinger, that's just like our intuition. We want a 3 land hand with Conspicuous Snoop and Harbinger. That's the nut draw. And maybe, you know, Vials in it too, but that's not the important part. So I'm telling you these are ideal. And I have all of the... So just to explain the hypergeometric calculator really quick, our deck size is 60 because we're not legacy players. That's a joke. They play 61 over there because they're nuts. If you look, it goes this way. I included 22 lands just for Chris Boone. Shout out to Chris Boone. It's not ideal, and you're going to see why later. But we're looking at a deck size of 60, the number of lands in the population. These are considered successes. This is assuming we have just perfect mana for all our colored sources. And I'm telling you we do, but this is just like how many lands should I play? 22 to 25. This is our starting hand, and we want to see 2 or more lands, right? So the cumulative probability of X being greater than or equal to 2 is 83% for a 23 land deck, and just about, well, if I called this 83%, I should call this 85%, right? Let's be fair. So there's like a 3-ish% difference, and that's a theme that comes up whenever you do these hypergeometric calculator things. There's like a 3-ish% difference for every card you add or remove that you're trying to draw in these opening hands. So 22, the problem here is that about 50% of the time you're going to get stuck, or you're going to have, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself, excuse me. So about 20% of the time, you're going to have less than 2 lands in an opener with 22 lands, and you're going to have to mulligan that. And you can see it goes down as you add more, as you would expect. There's going to be like weird inflection points where these things stop doing what you think they should do. And anyway, we're gonna try it. How's it going, Ropeburn? Good to see you. I love when those little guys pop up on the screen, so thank you for using them. So here's like the probability that you have 2 or more lands, which is what we're looking for in an opener. And anything above, I mean, this, when it's 80%, right, which is this 22 lander deck, that means 1 in 5 hands you're going to have to mulligan, which means, I don't know, over 2 rounds, you're going to basically definitely mulligan. You know what I mean? And we want to reduce our number of mulligans because it reduces your win percentage by a lot, just mulling. But, so maybe we shouldn't play this, and maybe we should try and, you know, get more than 2. So intuition to me says you look at like the drop-off points, and something interesting happens when you hit 25 lands. Your probability of having exactly 2 lands goes down to a quarter of the time. And I would say 2 land hands are more ideal than 3. But it's a quarter of the time you're going to have 2 lands. And this number is kind of like way up. Like, and you have to assume that a lot of those are going to be like 4 and 5 land hands as well. This is just intuition. We can't draw too many conclusions from this other than we probably want to do better than mulling 1 in 5 times. And we know 2 and 3 land hands are ideal because of what our deck is. So then we look at how many lands we want based on being on the play. And you use these in conjunction with that last slide. You'll see 9 cards by turn 3. So the way we set up our calculator, because you skip your first draw step, draw a card, you draw a card, gives you 9 cards on turn 3. It's like a little bit simplified, but because some of these would technically be 1-landers that you would have mulled and you just draw 2 lands off the top. But You'll see 9 cards by turn 3s, and we want to combo on turn 3, which means we need 3 lands. You can study these probabilities really closely. At 23 lands, you're at 75% to have at least 3 lands. 25, you're at 81%. 22, you're way down here at 70%. Considering how important 3 lands is, I want you to keep in mind the 70% number for the 22 lands later. It's just important to keep track of. But here, we're right at a healthy 79, 80-ish percent, right? For 24 lands. And that feels good to me. You can see the probability that we've hit 3 lands is 27 here. This would round down, but it's just about 28. We're quibbling over 1 or 2 percentage points, right? So we're just doing this intuitively. But among those articles I linked at the beginning, and I'm not putting them in the YouTube description, you can just Google it. They're not that hard to find. This one is not the math of splashing. This one is brewing and tuning, a Manabase and modern advanced example. I just found it when I was Googling Frank Carson stuff, and I read through it, and they're using his stuff. So it's not off base. They change a couple assumptions, but whatever. This is a Frank Karsten graph that tells you what you want with a 24 land mana base, which I'm telling you that we're probably settling on. And this is math that person did to, or at least it's a table in their article. It might be a Frank Karsten table. I'm not entirely sure. But that table comes from here. And you can see what they call, or what they suggest based on what kind of deck you are, more or less. And they use that to tell you your average CMC range as well. Or they use your average CMC range as well to determine these things. Notice, astute viewers, you will notice. Come on, zoom in on this. Why won't it zoom? What the hell? I can't make it bigger. There we go. 23 lands is considered an aggro deck, and you should be playing according to them in their math, which checks out. I've done it. You should be playing 23 lands when you have an average converted mana cost of 2 to 2.4. Now, at the point that I read this, I hadn't done the average converted mana cost. I had decided on 24 before all this. So we're going to see how that bears out when we calculate that in a second. We're going to use another tool to calculate it. But their suggestion, their reasonings are here. And I want to highlight that these are more or less like, they're arbitrary. They are subjective. But here's where we are. For a 22 land deck, what you're saying is that you need 2 lands on turn 2 every game, 99% of the time, but would like 3 lands on turn 3 for some of your 3 drops. So a deck that operates like that is Pioneer Anvil. Where the hell is that? It's in Pioneer. Pioneer Anvil. So some 3 drops. We need 2 mana on turn 2 because we want to play Oni Cult Anvil. And wouldn't you know it, we settled on 22 lands. So it bears out. The conventional wisdom bears out. Seems to match these. So for a 23 land aggro deck, you need 3 lands on turn 3 in most games. They're calling that 86.8%. That's just what you happen to have. And 4 lands by turn 4 is nice, but not necessary. We do fit in this category, but we're not really an aggro deck. And you can see that where they blur the line, they not blur the line, they flip over from aggro to mid-range. The reasoning is actually the same. You need 3 lands on turn 3 in most games, 89% about in this case. And 4 lands by turn 4 is nice, but not necessary. That matches us. So both these match us. So you would have been right with just intuition going with 23 or 24 lands. And here we can see now that the only thing separating them is your average converted mana cost, right? As far as this table's recommendations, and the math checks out, so I am inclined to agree with it. 25 is similar. It just says you want to hit your 4th land drop relatively often, and that's also true for us. You could play 25 lands, but again, the CMC range is pretty high here, so we're hoping ours isn't that high, because we actually, I know we've all said it a million times, our description of our deck goes in all of these categories: aggro, mid-range, control. We're probably closer to a grindy mid-range deck, but the difference between mid-range and control is very blurred. So anyway, how do we calculate the average CMC range? Well, it turns out somebody else who we mentioned earlier took Frank Carson's article. Whoever made this MTG on Curve thing, they made a Reddit post about it, so I think it's this one. And they updated it to the London Mulligan, and it's a tool you've seen me use on stream before. It's called MTG on Curve. This is how you use it at the website, mtgoncurve.com. You should use it. Here is my link that I put my deck list in, and then we pulled these results out of it. And we're going to focus our attention on a couple things. But basically what the MTG on Curve calculator does is it takes your deck that you feed into it, and it runs a million trials, and it sees how often you can do these things. It doesn't use the hypergeometric calculator, but over a million trials, you're going to get very, very close. Their code is posted. It's public. If you really want to go into it, it's probably something with Monte Carlo simulations. I don't even know. So this is our deck list. This is my deck list, but this is it with 23 lands. So what I've done, just a couple things. I told you I know how to use the tools. I understood them. There's a couple things we have to point out. Here you see we have 7 Bloodstained Mires. This tool counts Cavern of Souls as a colorless mana source. So I just took all the Cavern of Souls and made them into Bloodstained Mires to get to the right number of lands. And I cut one. Really, I would have cut the Wooded Foothills if I was doing it for real. But I cut one Bloodstained Mire instead. It's the same number of rainbow sources according to this tool. You'll also notice that Blightstep Pathway, which is a dual land that makes black or red mana, is listed as just a black source. But you'll notice, number one, the probability. So this is the probability to play that card. This is what Frank Carson uses. The probability to play that card on Curve, given that you have drawn that many mana sources. And we already did the calculations for how likely we are to draw that many mana sources. So his old what was it? His old bar for acceptable was 90%. Sorry, everything above 90% is in blue. You can see here, Conspicuous Snoop is actually only 92%, but that's because Blightstep Pathway is listed as a black land. It's actually better than that. It's 99%, just like anything else. It would be exactly the same as this Battlecry Goblin. So it is what it is. Well, I didn't redo it. You'll notice Mogwai Marshal and Battlecry Goblin are the same. Yeah. So because there's I guess it would be slightly less. It would be 99 point, like maybe 08. It's probably this munitions expert. Or the difference here is what the difference would be. Whatever. So that's 23 lands. Now down here is where we're going to focus our attention. The point being, mana is perfect for the whole deck. It's as good as you could ask for. And down here are values that happen to be affected by the number of lands we're playing. I did the tests, and you see this note here. Mana is so good that changing the number of sources rather than the total number of lands doesn't effectively change the percentage that you can play a Goblin Ringleader on turn 4. So this 66%, when you switch to 24 lands by adding another Bloodstained Mire, another rainbow land, becomes 70%, right? So the question is, how important is that to you, and how do we match up with what other people are saying is good? Well, another number you'll see down here is average non-land converted mana cost, and ours is 2 point. I don't know why it changes from thing to thing. The same list. I have a feeling it's or maybe I took out. I don't know. The point is, it rides that line between 2.4 and underneath, but it's always a little bit above it. And if we go back to the reference, anything above 2.4, they're recommending 24 lands. Another interesting piece of data here, you can see the number of expected lands in your opening hand. And you can also see that it's a decimal number. So I guess more accurately, it's got a decimal point in it. It's fractional. It's not an integer. So here it's 2.94 at 23 lands, and here it's 3.01 at 24 lands. So more often than not, you're going to be hitting 3 lands, but this has more where it's just 2. So if you think 2 is ideal, and you're always willing to, knock the top of your deck and hope for the 3rd land, 23 is fine. But if you would rather see them in your opening hand, this is gonna happen more often, right? It's hard to really visualize how that works, because you'll never have that 0.7 extra land in your hand. It's always 1 or none, right? But there are just enough more cases where you'll see 3 here. And we you hear me say it a lot, you don't want to be the jerk that's stuck with 2 lands and a Blood Moon because you put the Blood Moon on the bottom. So seeing the 3 has a value in your mulligan decisions and all that. Just to give you a look at the sideboard mana. So here I've changed the mana base. I've put the Cavern of Souls back in. You can see they were colorless, like I said. And I'm assuming that these Blightstep pathways, it actually matters here, the Blightstep pathway, that it's black mana. So I left it as that rather than making it a dual land. You can see that we're hitting 95% for a Thoughtseize on turn 1. And you can see we're 99% to play a Blood Moon if we've got 3 lands. And you can see that for Necromentia, not quite there. 87.5%. So, can you play Necromentia with this mana base? You're 2.5% off of doing it with no questions. And remember I said that about 3%, 2.5% is what happens when you add or remove one card that you're trying to draw in these opening hands. And remember how we've said a million times that this number of sources you want to play a card on turn 1 is 14. Notice we are just short of 14 black sources. And so instead of 90%, we're at 87.5% to play this. What does that mean to you? I don't know, but it's up to you to make the decision whether or not that's good. And so we'll just go to the conclusion right now. You have to run what you're comfortable with, and the percentages are basically arbitrary. You're gonna nudge your win or lose percentage in 2% if it only depended on the mana. But for our main deck and most of the cards we have in our sideboard, we are way above the 95% threshold. We are approaching 99%. So when you're trying to make the decision for yourself, you have to think about how many games you'll play in a tournament. You heard me say about mulligan percentages earlier. Do you want to mulligan every other round? Definitely. Wouldn't you love to play 4 games and just keep And this is mulligan just because you don't have enough lands. Like, that's even worse. So how many games are you comfortable throwing away to mana problems if you need to go X1 and X2? Well, man, that number is probably not 20%. I'll tell you that, right? So, this is to say, our colored mana is perfect. Just, you don't have to worry about it. As long as you play something very close to, you know, what we've got here, 4 or 5 fetches, couple blood crypts, Cavern of Souls, whatever, you're golden. It's not going to matter. So you get to focus on the things that are higher level. We're not just plugging numbers into a calculator anymore. We're saying, well, what is that 24th land? What is the card I'm casting on turn 2? Like, what do I actually prefer? So, like I was saying, we want to cast Snoop on turn 2 always. So we maximize that. Make sure every land produces red except one. And this is a concession to our Blood Moon, right? Because we can afford it. We can afford for that not to produce red because we just have perfect mana. And what kind of deck do we play? We play a mana hungry deck. So yes, these Blightstep pathways could be fast lands and then they'd be dual lands. But again, with these as black sources, our mana was damn near perfect already. So when they have the option of being black and red, there's actually no chance that having the Blightstep pathways ever screws you out of casting your most important card, right? I mean, the same is true for the fast lands, but there is a chance that fast lands screw you out of casting Goblin Ringleader on turn 4 or Sling Gang Lieutenant on turn 4 or things like that. We just always would prefer the land that we get to not come into play tapped. Now, Den of the Bugbear is an obvious thing that flies in the face of that idea, and we're saying right now that the utility of having this creature land is more important than it coming into play tapped on turn 4 or turns 3 and 4. Now, the only time that this would come into play tapped on turn 3 is when you drew it off the top as your third land, and that's always very painful. Sokenzan wouldn't do that. It's another option. Probably not as good as Den of the Bugbear, but it's just another option. But anyway, our mana is perfect. The Blightstep pathways don't hurt our ability to cast any of our important cards. They only help us cast the weird cards from the sideboard like Thoughtseize, Necromentia, and you get to make the decision every game whether or not you feel it's comfortable. I find myself fetching Basic Mountain a ton with this deck, just because of life total concerns. So if I have what is essentially a Basic Mountain coming off the top that doesn't cost me life and can be a swamp in a pinch, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I pick it. That's why I go with it. That's gonna be it for all of this Manabase talk. That was a lot to get to it, but there's a lot of math that goes into it, and I recommend MTG on Curve. And you just gotta learn to use that. Learn, where is it? Yeah, learn, like, just export your list into here. Pay attention to what's going on down here. These kinds don't matter. And just get these percentages somewhere you're comfortable with, right? But it's very hard to mess up a 2-color mana base in Modern. Really what it comes down to. This is a Noble Hierarch list that I was putting in here. The Noble Hierarch list is fine too. The problem that you have is a higher level concern with your mana base hurting you. This doesn't have the caverns in it. You can see it's got a bajillion fetch lands, but yeah, there's the mana is fine. It's just what you have to do to get it on turn 1 and how much life you're paying for that. And so in those cases, if the life is too much, that's when I was using fast lands, especially since Hierarch gives you your mana anyway. But the mana is pretty easy to get in Modern, as evidenced by the fact that 4-color Omnath is the best deck, easily. And they just don't play 5 because they don't feel like it. What are we going to play today? Do we play Yorion? I'm glad you liked the Colonel Crab Cake. That was actually, yeah, I found myself typing the response to you in the comments, and I was like, there's just so much here that people don't realize. But it all comes down to, there's a bunch of math that people did in the past that you can build off of, and that people have done. And another, like, this person goes deep into it. But again, we don't need to, because we're just on a 2-color thing. It's super simple. Their mana base actually looks a lot like ours for this 3-color deck. But there's also, this is an honorable mention. The Math of Splashing. This is a Death and Taxes player who has Vial in their deck, and they're doing a bunch of math to go with the fact that they have Vial. And, like, spoiler alert, summary, whatever you want to call it, they say you can go down to 9 sources for a splash color when you have 4 caverns and 4 vials. They've built some program to do it. So basically, same as everything else, you want 13 or 14 sources to get there on time for your 3-drops. And your 1-drops, to be honest, too. Like, that was the line we put there, but they were talking about splashing a 3-drop here. It's a good read if you are into math stuff, but we're hopping into it with Black Red Goblins. Was my sideboard crappy? 1 Necromentia. Should this maybe be just a Thoughtseize? Should it be 2 Necromentia and 2 Thoughtseize? It should probably just still be 2 Necromentia and 2 Thoughtseize. Because we've been getting comboed. And, like, remember I showed you that the mana, this is 87.5? I know that, and I'm still going with Necromentia because it's like a win 100% of the time. Oh, something I forgot to mention. For Leyline people, this is actually a perfect, almost perfect representation of how often you'll have Leyline of the Void in your hand at the start of the game. If you adhere to normal mulligan rules, meaning you don't keep 6 and 7 landers with Leyline, and you don't keep 0 and 1 landers with Leyline, right? 36.5% of the time. Why is this accurate? So this Aether Vial has no colored mana requirements, and Leyline of the Void you put into play on turn 0, but you don't pay anything, right? So it has no mana cost, and we know we didn't keep any 0s or 1s, so you'll always be able to play it. So this is a Leyline of the Void math. So this is, I have a hand that isn't complete and utter dog shit. It might still be bad, but it's not completely unkeepable. And I have a Leyline of the Void in it, and I can play it. That's what this number is right here. And to me, unless your matchup is atrocious and this Leyline is winning it by itself, don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Because some percentage of those hands that have Leyline and a couple lands in them are also just unkeepably bad, right? So it's definitely a risk you take on whenever you board it in, and you should be aware of it. Most people just think it's an auto win, and like they look at the other math, but you have to keep in mind like how low you're willing to go to find this thing. You know what I mean? When you have a reasonable hand and it doesn't have a Leyline in it, you'd like to keep it. And it's only 37% of hands that are reasonable and have a Leyline in it. So. The total math is probably way worse than that. Because it's like, don't have the opportunity to mulligan after a certain point, right? Like, and have Leyline be in your hand and be good. And the Leyline takes up a card takes up a slot in your hand. Ooh, I did not realize how loud my stuff was. Should I put music on? I should probably put music on. It's funny that the conclusion after all that is like, don't fucking worry about it. You don't play whatever you want. Make sure it comes into play untapped is my recommendation. But this is a great hand. Go to 76. Boston. Might as well. Gotta lower this a little bit for me. Check the levels. I'm down a tiny bit. All right. So we kept a banger of a hand. This is good in combo matchups, and it's good in grindy matchups. Turn 1 Mod Fanatic. Tell you how much it was Leyline of Rest in Peace. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people use that as a I don't know, an argument in favor that we can actually cast it, but it's like the game has to go on a lot longer or have been super slow by the time you cast this thing. Crashing Footfalls. All right, I think we lose, guys. I was psyched. I said it was a banger of a hand. This is our worst matchup. If it's gonna be all rhinos tonight, I'm 0-3 dropping and turning off the stream. There was enough content in that first 15-20 minutes, however long that was. Looks like a half hour, damn. That I'm not gonna continue if I'm 0-3. Just gonna go play Apex. I've been playing a lot of Apex. I'm loving it. I played like 4 hours of Arena yesterday, and not Magic Arena, Apex Arenas, and it's so weird. You do not warm up in a shooting game until like 2 hours in. And I heard a professional say that on stream. He was like, the first 2 hours I play, my brain is just like off. Like, I don't know what it is, but it takes me 2 hours to get into the rhythm of it. And it seemed crazy. And then every time I play, it happens to me. It's like, you play kind of crappy, and then, all right, you're 2 hours in, and now you're doing like 2,000 damage games. Like, just gotta keep going. No red mana. If this is Brazen Borrower, I guess they can stop our combo, but I'm not gonna not combo because of that, right? Like, they haven't cycled anything. The chances that they play Brazen Borrower aren't even that high. It's probably 100% at this point, and I haven't looked at a Rhinos list in forever because for my own sanity, I need to bury my head in the sand. Why didn't I play fetches to decrease the chance of drawing a land? Two things. Number one, we probably can't win this game in the long game, and we probably can't win this game right now anyway. So we're all in on this turn 3 combo, and if that doesn't work, this is a nightmare matchup. So increasing, decreasing the chance that you draw lands, almost irrelevant. So you're wasting brain power. That's first off. But number two, in the chance that we have a long game and drawing lands may be relevant, right? Like drawing less or more lands could be relevant. Damn it. Our Snoop being in play would give us opportunities to change the top of our deck with the fetch land. In general, yeah, Carador's got it. In general, you want to save your fetch lands until you get a Snoop in play so that you can see if you want. Like, I could have just not tried the combo there if this game didn't have such a drastic time limit on it, I think. But as it stands, like, we were gonna have to play 3 of them to do what we wanted to do on turn 3, and the only thing that matters is this this Wooded Foothills that's left in our hand, and it's gonna go good with our Snoop actually right now as we get to or maybe I should just play Ringleader? I don't know. I think I like playing Snoop again. I think I like playing Snoop again, but I think I'm gonna... Do I attack first? I don't think it really matters. I guess, theoretically, I could find a Battlecry Goblin on top and pump these. Could I have comboed in their upkeep? Sure. Once they let us copy Snoop once, I was just like, oh, we've got it. And yes, I could have done that where I copied the token instead, but there's no reason for them to let me make the token even once. So trying to read into it and then playing around them having made a mistake always feels weird. But yeah, those are things you can do to optimize it. But like, I try to play as if my opponent's going to make the right decision. Because I think that's generally correct to do. I have no idea what that's about. We're definitely... Notice we're not going to crack our fetch here because Harbinger's on top. So, like, I just continue doing it normally. The save target's equity is too high. Yeah, that's one way to put it. I could have saved targets on the token, but I just assumed they didn't have it once they let me do it. But they did. This is the Flash soda, and I made it myself. So it really feels like I just poured a bunch of soda syrup into water. I really don't like it. So they're gonna Rhino us. We have the combo again. Like, if they kill my Snoop before I untap, I think I'm shuffling away this Harbinger, right? So the value of this fetch land coming into play there. And they just let us do it. We're gonna try it again. They don't even... This is a mistake on their part again. But, oh, they always have it. This is like... This is impossible, yeah. You're not wrong. They go really low. So, like, sometimes you can get there. And even now, I don't want to draw this blightstep pathway. Not because it's a blightstep pathway, just because it's a land. So we're going to shuffle away. And yes, they can see what we're getting. Ooh, they fixed it? So that... No, they probably didn't. Yeah, you're not supposed to be able to see what's on top before you decide if this enters the battlefield tapped. But we're going to let it be tapped here. The reason I shuffled is because maybe you get a Mog Fanatic on top. Very small gains, but maybe I'll get to do something neat. So now I get to stack the top of my deck with whatever I want. And considering the board state, I guess I go with Sling Gang Lieutenant. Like, I'm going to take 10. And they're going to have 2 blockers. Right? Because next turn... Yeah, so next turn that comes off Suspend. Battlecry Goblin doesn't really get there. Although, I could kill 2 Rhinos. But I'm going to take 10, and then there's 8 trample damage. So, double Munitions Expert doesn't really get us anywhere. Does it? I guess double Munitions Expert and then maybe you draw a land for Kiki? Is that worth doing? Could be. We could also just Sling Gang Lieutenant, and what do we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. Takes him to 6. It's not really enough. And even Kiki Jiki. Alright, so I guess we just have to get Munitions Expert. I can't block Shardless Agent this turn. I may block it next turn. Can't block anything this turn. Trample is just so good against us. Trample in cards that deal at least 2 damage, whether it's split up or not. They have Fire Ice. They have Fury too. It's really hard. Everything that you could load your deck up with that beats us is kind of in. Kind of in their deck over there. Oh, wait. Are we just dead? Like, I kill... I mean, they probably have another fire here, right? What is this? Dead? They probably can dead another one of our creatures. I can't reasonably, even if I killed the untapped ones, I die, right? I might still die. But I'm going to put 3 toughness. No, they have 8 trample damage and I have 4 toughness. Oh, I can't win. Whoops. I should have known that. I should have done the calcs. All right. So this matchup sucks. We don't really account for it a ton in our board. They play Blood Moon. I guess we're going to try out Necromentia, especially on the play. These are like all solid and we can't win a long game. So taking my own advice on sideboarding the other day, you have to determine what's important in the matchup. We're probably not attacking through them with Battlecry Goblin. Mog Fanatic is probably doing next to nothing this game. I'd probably take that out actually. Aether Vial is important because it allows you to keep bad hands. Like when you mulligan down to 4 and you have a Snoop and a Harbinger and an Aether Vial, like, and 1 land, like that, this is effectively many lands. So we just want to maximize our opportunity to combo. Munitions Expert isn't fantastic, but can buy us a couple turns. And then a Harbinger in a pinch, or excuse me, Ringleader in a pinch finds us. Finds us a ton of stuff. Maybe I'm supposed to take out Sling Gang Lieutenant, but I think launching past their blockers is more important. Like, I could take out Sling Gang Lieutenant and leave in more Mog Fanatics. I think I'm going to stick with this, and maybe we just take out a Mog War Marshal. I definitely don't want to play that on 2. But you kind of want it because, like, that plus Munitions Expert can get you places. That and Skirk Prospector as well. Let's do it. Side out 1 Harbinger and keep the Battlecry. No way. Never siding out a Harbinger when I basically have no hope of winning a long game. I just have to hope they keep a bad hand. And that I can Thoughtseize myself into something good, I think. And I think we keep this. We have a way, I mean, it couldn't be more awkward with double Aether Vial, but like, it is what it is. We can't win 88 Cobra. Like, you win some long games, and maybe I should be like mulling to Necromentias and stuff, but that's not the plan I chose to come up with. I'm trying not to play a long game. And just hoping that I can punk them with a Thoughtseize or something, but like, this is what Cedric Phillips calls a can't mull, can't win hand. So, there I played the fetch land for 2 reasons. Number 1, I don't want to reveal this Snoop with Auntie's Hovel. I don't want to reveal any of the goblins in my hand with this Auntie's Hovel, and I want to get Aether Vial into play. That's really what it comes down to, because my hope is that they do something dumb, and then I Vial in Snoop. Okay, so now if we draw a black source, well, any land, we're in really good shape, because we'll be able to Necromentia their Rhinos, I guess, and see their hand. Maybe I'm supposed to Necromentia, like, their removal, but they have so many different forms of removal that it's like, what could you... I guess you just have to do. But more than likely, we're just going to do nothing on this turn. Yeah, just going to do nothing here. Even if they tag my Aether Vial, I am not going to Vial and Snoop. Not gonna do it. You can see kind of Necromentia is like, I don't know, what is this mana base? Maybe we should, I mean, it's hard to say I should bring in Blood Moon when this is their mana, but two basics, but this is like embarrassing. They probably have multiple of these Brazen Borrows, right? We're just gonna keep, like, ideally here, what? They like tap out for, what is this? Do I do it here? This one's a question. Cause like, I don't even have 3 mana next turn necessarily. So putting this Snoop in play, kind of pretty risky. I have to assume they thought they were going to be able to draw a green source before they ran out of petty thefts. So it doesn't mean they necessarily have a red kill spell in their hand. The chances that they don't is low. But now, if I draw land, I guess I can Necromentia, and like I'm not too upset, even if they kill my Snoop. The worst case scenario is they draw like Breeding Pool, and they tap these for a Shardless Agent, and then also kill my Snoop. I think I have to vial this in, because it'll take 2 turns to get a Snoop, and I might draw a Snoop by then anyway, you know? Oh, Den of the Bugbear being on top is painful. Not the absolute worst, because like we're gonna replay Aether Vial next turn, I guess. Well, that was an accident. I bet you they forgot that this was legendary, so... Going Goblin mode. How's it going, Mystical Pot? And we'll know for sure if they have removal in their hand, because this Snoop is just going to sit in play. That's a pretty solid thing to have on top. I'm like really tempted to not play Aether Vial and to instead play this off the top. But where does that get me? Nowhere great. Glad to hear you're doing well. They must have kept something over. Yeah, so there's the fire. So the Snoop isn't going to last. Do we untap in Necromentia? I assume they're going to like Rhino us here. But at instant speed. So they're going to get 1 set of Rhinos, and we're going to get to use our vials, it looks like, once. I guess twice if you count Munitions Expert, but I'm probably not vialing in Munitions Expert this turn. Unless they Brazen Borrower. Does this have Flash? Yeah, it does. We're going to name Crashing Footfalls here. Even if they Violent Outburst us, I think. And they are. And they were always going to do that. And we are going to hope that them just killing our creatures They have Fury. So Fury actually hurts real bad. But all they've got over there is Fury. We can get this from the graveyard. And then they're all done. So they just have Violent Outburst and Fury in hand. Of course, that's not what leaves there, but we know it. We know they've got it. I mean, I'm definitely going to have to play this Hidetsugu, which is going to kill both my vials, like I said. But we'll be left with some stuff, so it's okay. I wonder what... I guess I want another munitions expert. Is my guess. Just so I don't die to these borrowers. Although Pashlik Mons is an answer to that if I can stick one. We take it. Alright, so they're like for sure brazen borrowing here. Well, I guess there's going to be a lot of air in their deck now, right? I don't think I'm going to get value off this munitions expert, unfortunately. Which means maybe I have to put Pashlik Mons into play. Hidetsugu. Ironically, this Hidetsugu is saving my life, but at the same time, it's hurting these Aether Vials so bad. This is one of those times where Engineer Explosives would be a lot better. So I'm going to put Boggart Harbinger into play. I guess I just need this to survive. I guess they could have drawn a counterspell. Maybe I'm supposed to have done this first. I don't think they're gonna... I don't think they're gonna mistakenly play their Brazen Borrowers before they need to. And so... I'm gonna take 3 next turn. And I need to save this Munitions Expert to kill one. Oh, they can't Brazen Borrower. Oh, they don't have double blue. Well, that's good news. It's good news. I don't know if it really is the news we needed. Does that mean that no, I don't play this Munitions Expert just because my vials are disappearing. And this eventually becomes a 3/3, this Hidetsugu. So I was saying, that, you know, it's painful here, or that Engineered Explosives would be better, but, like, not necessarily. Like, this 3/3 may be a big deal. It remains to be seen. There's Mari command, so they're going to create a treasure, which means next turn they are going to be able to Fury or Brazen Borrower. I guess I'm going to play... What if they play Fury? I guess just Sling Gang Lieutenant, because they're going to Fury onto an empty board? Yeah. Seems fine to me. Gonna be one of them weird games. I don't know if we're gonna win. We're at a pretty low life total. And they are at a pretty healthy life total. Land. Ugh, Chalice terrible at this point. Chalice actually terrible. I kind of need to play a blocker, don't I? There's no reason to play this on 0. There may be a reason to play it on 1. No, it can't. Does Dead and Gone count as a 1 when you cast it into Chalice? Yes, it does. Do I even want to find something and put it on top here? I guess I could kill... No. I'm gonna have a 3/3. I guess I just want to put a Mog War Marshal on top to buy me more time. Like, yes, I am not drawing a land, but like it guarantees me a turn or two more. I don't know. I guess it doesn't really guarantee it, but it comes pretty close. If this is just Fury into Fury, I'll be kind of upset, but we know that the last card in their hand is Unknown and Violent Outburst. Those are the last two cards. We'll block here. We know it's not removal because they would have dealt me 6. At least I believe that to be true. We're going to play Mog War Marshal, and we're going to... We can't attack with this, but... We're going to have a whole bunch of blockers. And we're not going to pay Echo. In case you were wondering. Because we can play Munitions Expert at instant speed. It looks like we might have to do it at sorcery speed, but we'll see. A land would be pretty solid because I get to play Chalice and Munitions Expert. I wouldn't play Sling Gang because I already have blockers, although maybe it would be lethal. We'll see. They should have left that back to block. This is... That can't block my ground creatures, but they should have left the Fury back to block. Because I'm not going to pay Echo anyway. Although, they don't know that, so I guess it makes sense. But I have 5 damage. And then if I play this, that's 5 more. I could try to kill Fury with the Expert. But I think because I have all these blockers, I have to kill the Borrowers because they're just going to play 2, right? So, can I reasonably shock? Not really. But I do think that I am going to attack with the Vessel. Do I actually shock into play? No. No, I just die if I do. I need to play Munitions Expert. They could have Fire in hand, which would kill 2 things, but I would still deal 1 here. So Fire into Dead would hurt. Like, they'd have to draw it. Oh, they also have Violent Outburst, so I, like, need to kill these. Am I just dead to Violent Outburst? No. Okay, so they're putting the Hidetsugu back in my hand, which is interesting. It would untap and be able to just straight up block Fury. We're dead in the air. The Violent Outburst plus the 2 Brazen Borrowers if I don't kill this thing. Even though it looks like so appealing to kill Fury, can't do it. Oh no, I just okayed through playing the land. Oh man. Let's hope that doesn't matter. It's gonna. It's gonna matter. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. Because I'm gonna be at 2 life if they cast the Violent Outburst. Crap. You have Blood Crypt tapped. I should have done it first, maybe? I don't know. I have to avoid doing that. I should just not make these mistakes. So here, like, let's assume this would come into play. They don't even cast a Violent Outburst. Now it's just a dead card. Now it doesn't do anything. Okay, so I am going to be able to get the Sling Gang in play. I guess I should see if it gets countered first. Imagine if this came into play tapped because we played a fast land. They do play counter spells sometimes, so like I doubt they would play it in this matchup, but I only need to sack 1 or 2 goblins to survive here because Violent Outburst is +1 to all their creatures. They play actual factual counterspell sometimes, yeah. But I think they're just doing math here to see if they should kill my stuff first. Wait, what? Oh, man. So I could have fizzled that, and now I'm just dead in the air? No, I have 1. They're gonna go to 5. Yeah, I can't win from here. Because I have to sack everything to survive. And there's nothing I can draw off the top. Even if I had played this and this was a Blightstep pathway in hand. They play counterspells. It's like... You have to imagine they don't have a sideboard for this matchup because it's so easy for them. So they may not have things to... Like, if they play them main, they may not have things to put in. You know what I mean? They can still be playing them. It's not absurd. Like, it just happens sometimes. The matchup is so easy that you leave in mediocre cards. But that's the worst possibles. To get paired against that. Oh yeah, but whatever the counter spell is, they play counter spells, I think. But maybe you're right, they don't play actual factual. You're definitely right about that. They play Mystical Dispute, I guess. They wouldn't bring that in, yeah, and they wouldn't have it main. So you're right. In the dark, it's pretty tempting to keep this, so I'm gonna keep it. Although we're on the draw. I probably should have mulliganed this in case they're a Ragavan deck. Because this is weak to Ragavan on the draw. But they're a sewer deck, so we're fine. We'll start with Cavern. Name Goblin. Play Aether Vial. Battlecry Goblin is really good. The longer you can wait to play it. So black-white Urborg. This just straight up the Eldrazi Taxes deck, because people don't normally play Tidehollow Sculler anymore unless they have Ephemerate or something like that. They broke the cardinal rule of the Tidehollow Sculler, though, and they didn't take the thing that kills the Tidehollow Sculler. So... I don't want them to get Fatal Push, and I want this Tidehollow, or this Matron back. So I think I just do this main phase. I guess I'm like semi-resilient to a Fatal Push, because I can wait for them to tap one of their mana, and then do my whole thing. But... And then I'd have to sack Mog Fanatic. And like... I think that gives them more value out of their Fatal Push. I don't know. Maybe it comes out the same. Yeah, it's the black-white Ephemerate deck. I'm just saying, like... Tidehollow Sculler is not common even in those, right? So the last, like, real list I saw that played Tidehollow Sculler, I think was Eldrazi, but perhaps not. That's not a very good draw. Do they get to play lands off this? Yep. Damn. I think I'm just gonna Matron for Munitions Expert. mean, they can't. They can't stop me from attacking past this one way or another, but I don't want this to be in play. So maybe I just like hold it and wait for them to make a move. So they can't ephemerate it, I guess. I'll take 3, you know? Although if they play a discard spell, I'd have to respond, but it's just responding here. This is Torok? Nope, it's Grief. So do I want to kill Grief or do I want to kill Douthie Voidwalker? Grief takes, it's just Thoughtseize. It takes anything. So it's probably going to take my Battlecry Goblin, right? Which means maybe I want to play Battlecry Goblin here. Because they're like almost dead to just Battlecry Goblin? Not if they leave Grief in play, though. I guess I can let Grief resolve. Then they target me. I want to kill Grief or Douthie Voidwalker. I don't need this Battlecry Goblin to win. But let's just not lose. Like, don't overextend. Let's just kill thing that blocks us. They're gonna take this Goblin. Got Goblin in the name, so I want to call. Ooh, they took Kiki Jiki? They're just dead. They don't realize it. I'm pretty sure that's way over the required amount of damage. So we don't tick up here. Grab our land first, in case they Solitude or something. Yes, put this into play. Activate it. We go to attacks. Make a little goblin. Attack again. Or we activate again, excuse me. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 16, 17, 18 damage. I don't think they made the right call. I doubt they think it either. You have to really resist putting Thoughtseizes in, because they always feel good. Just for Ephemerate, I guess. I don't know. Maybe you do bring in Thoughtseize? They probably play Bob as a guess? I don't know. But I'm guessing they play Fatal Pushes? So, like, just side out 2 Harbingers? They definitely play Thoughtseize, right? I guess bringing in Thoughtseize and Chalice feels weird. Maybe you bring in Chalice on the play and not the draw. Let's do that. Doesn't really matter. This is a keep. So here, Power of Blightstep Pathway coming in again. We want to save our fetch lands for Snoop. We want to play Aether Vial on turn 1. It's Eldrazi. I told you, who was denying me my reads? I told you it was Eldrazi. I have the soul reads. I understand when somebody took a list from 8 months ago. I can't even believe I had the soul read, to be honest. But I knew it. Here comes the Ephemerate Eldrazi. Or is this? Yeah. Eldrazi Displacer. Neither had I. But I also hadn't seen Tide Tide Hollow Sculler in ages. It's not a good card. It's only good if you have some silly combo with it. Alright, fetch land. We could grab basic swamp. And it wouldn't hurt us that much. But I think we're just gonna grab Blood Crypt anyway. Do this. And then we just have to make sure they don't like do some weird shit to us. So now I have to figure out what goes through the mind of an Eldrazi and Taxes player. So exile another target creature that costs 3 mana. They only have 3 mana right now, and they only have it for Eldrazi. They can't play Tide Hollow Sculler. They can only play more Displacers. I guess the worst case scenario is that they take this Snoop. So they can't do anything fancy with the Sculler yet, because that costs 5 mana. Or 6 mana. So we'll take the Seer. Leave the rest. May have been incorrect, I don't know. Thank you, I appreciate it, Carador. Thank you for stopping by. It is a 3/3, by the way. You do lose to a gaggle of 3/3s quite quickly. But we're going to try to combo him, so who cares? We know most of their hand when we go for the combo. Not all of it. Grab a basic mountain here. See how important it is for your mana to not hurt you? Like, imagine this was another fetch and a shock. We'd be at 8 life. Really dangerous stuff. Really dangerous stuff. This is our only tutor. I guess what this is tutoring, since we're dead really quickly if we don't tutor it. Well, I guess we could get Munitions Expert, but it actually doesn't do anything here until we can get another Goblin into play. But yeah, we're just going to grab the Harbinger. And we're planning on viling this in at end step. Another target creature, then return it. Okay. So they're gonna grief my hand. They stack the evoke first, which means they have to do this now. But they could have chosen not to do it. So this is the joke here. Now, had I had a Munitions Expert, this can't happen. So it's something to think about, but they did draw the grief. I didn't even realize that they could do that. I didn't like really think about it. Wait, did I not? Oh man. I okayed through it, but they took Battlecry Goblin anyway. I was gonna Violent Snoop, so. This Sling Gang Lieutenant will be big here. Because you don't have the right add-on installed. Twitch LOL is the add-on to get. So we know we're not drawing a land, which sucks. What? I have to keep the Snoop because there could be a Matron on top. But I don't have to keep the Matron. I guess I kind of want to keep the Matron because if there's a Kiki on top, I win.
Jazix just subscribed.
Thank you. Thank you for the subscription with your Prime Gaming. Twitch LOL, Twitch LOL. I'll link you to the Discord actually. Oh, it's TTV LOL now. I don't get ads when I use the thing. So I invite people. Just invited you on Discord. It works great. So what is this? Do I take 6 here? Go to 5? Do I lose anyway. If I take 3, I go to 8. Then they have a menace and this, and like I can't really play any of this stuff. I think I have to just take it. There's a couple outs where we still win the game. We definitely tick up. Because we're hoping that there's either a Harbinger or a Matron on top. Not quite, not quite. I mean, it is... Alright, so there's the Harbinger. Which means if I survive this turn, we're in great shape. And it looks like we can. Now, if they leave their mana up, I can't combo. But... we'll see. They path me. Yep. That's fine. Grab a mountain. We can do 2 4-drops next turn. We may be able to turn this around. So I think we do this. We block. Then we're gonna kill this Grief. Because they tapped out of it. Take no damage, thank you. We'll tick up. Third Prospector, I could have used you. I think here... be Ringleader. Because we, you know... we would like to set up the combo next turn if we can. And we can. So let's do it. We have to block these displacers. I think they have... what did they exile? They exiled the Sculler. They have the Maul. And they have... oh wait, am I just dead to Maul? I've been dead to Maul this whole time and they chose not to play it? Oh no, they can't play Maul because they don't have a 3rd land. I see. I don't know. I guess they just drew like a bunch of Thought-Knot Seers and stuff. Alright, so I can't combo this turn. That's fine. We're not going to put a charge counter on this. We'll play this. We'll name Goblin. We'll play Matron. At this point, do I still try to combo knowing... I could just get it ripped out of my hand? Maybe I just play... I'm definitely playing the Sling Gang Lieutenant. They're at what? I can do like a Pashalik Sling Gang line. So if I get Pashalik here, I can sack the Matron, put it in play, and then play Sling Gang. So then I hit them for 1, they're at 17. Then I play Sling Gang. I do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 36. Not enough. It's probably better. Can I just get something I can play right now? Maybe I could just put a second Snoop into play? That's not that good. Could get a Munitions Expert. I think I just need to get a Ringleader. I think that's how we lose this game, by not having enough blockers for no good reason, and running out of cards. Like here they can They can use Displacer to try and get my blockers out of the way, but pretty decent blocker. I don't know if that's the most up-to-date version, Nick. They're gonna let me tutor? I don't think they realize what they just did. I'll grab a Harbinger. They know I have the one blocker. So, like, if you're not ending the game, what are you doing? They know I have a ringleader. Yeah. All right. So I think we're 1-1, right? I can't believe I had the soul read on that. I'm gonna pee, grab a little bit of water, and then we'll be back for the next round. I'm not gonna... The queues have been popping quickly today, so I'm not gonna queue up while I'm gone, but I will be right back. See you in a couple minutes. We're back. Oops. This is where the submit deck button is during sideboarding. Let me update that stream decker. It's actually really close. I wish I could like hit upload. Why is that not a thing? Edit it. You have to do it here? Like, I don't want to do that. I think Chain Whirler should be in my sideboard, by the way. And I like... First of all, let's go to dark mode. How do I upload a deck? I'm clearly logged in. That's... Missing cards... Wait. Ugh. Yes, I want to play first. No, I don't want to keep a one land hand. Ooh, this hand is bad. This combo out. Zokla. What is Zokla playing? Nothing, according to MTG bot. Hand is real bad. Like, what does it beat? It beats a lot of things if it draws a Snoop or outer. But, I mean, my War Marshal is okay in long games, and I guess we'll have the mana, because I'm throwing a Harbinger to the bottom, so drawing a land means we curb out pretty good. I guess I'll keep this, just because I don't want to go to 5 in an unknown matchup, so it's burn. I don't want to shock in if I can avoid it, although I'm probably gonna have to no matter what. But maybe we draw lands. It's a tough call, a tough keep. Zokla on the Garfield. Scratch Leonin Kitten. Never. Is this a real uncard? I don't even know. Blackleaf Cliffs into Horror of the Broken Lands. One person puts Jund Living End in their title one time, and everybody's back on Jund. Is this... I don't know. What is this the reason to play Jund, that you get to grief people? Skirk Prospector is pretty good in this matchup, isn't it? I'm just now realizing. So that's good. If anybody knows the reason that... I think it was... not tutors, but... What's that guy's name? Why can't I remember his name? Redhead Asmo player. Might not even be red hair. Oh, he's probably streaming, but... holy crap, why am I blanking so hard? How do I... Where is he? Oh my god, you stopped streaming for like a month and I just forget your name entirely. I know the guy's face, I've watched him a million times. Hate the music he plays, but I like him. Oh well. Somebody will know it. Doomwake, that's his name, Doomwake. Doomwake was playing Jund yesterday and now everybody's on it. Am I gonna pay Echo? Probably not. So this effectively gives the Goblin haste without me having to pay Echo. I could pay Echo here, but there's a lot of cards that I would want to play. I suppose that included, which I would have gotten to play. At this point, do we win if they cast a Living End? I'm not sure. We would get Harbinger back, and we could stack the top of our deck. And I could put Sling Gang on it, but I don't know if we win. You're close. A Fury? Fuck. Well, that's gonna be good. Just do that while we can. Oh, are they gonna scam us? Is this gonna be black-red scams too? Is this scams plus Living End? Nope. Alright, scams was another deck that Doomwake was playing, which is just... Wow, it's just... straight up playing the Boseiju. I am gonna fetch the Thin here, I think. Although, no, you're really not supposed to, because it's more likely that you draw the Snoop than any of those lands that you took out, and the Snoop gives you a redraw. So, we will not fetch the Thin. And we also have a Harbinger that's on the bottom that maybe we did want to draw, I don't know. Violent Outburst? Okay. They waited till I drew. Didn't want to give me the 1 damage. Understandable. I guess they get to play Boseiju. That's the big thing here. So they have to stack these before I get any of this. But I don't have anything worthwhile in my hand. The Fury's gonna literally wipe the board and leave me with 2 tokens. They have 2 cards in hand. So yeah, no reason to do anything fancy here. What do I do, though, with my... Could get Munitions Expert. Although then I'm still facing down a 4-4 and a 3-2. It's not going to go in my hand because I've already passed my... I've already drawn for turn. I guess you just get Snoop? Sounds really bad, though. Like, because killing any one creature isn't enough. Playing Ringleader's probably too slow. We probably lost this game, is really what it comes down to. I was thinking about that already, Nick, but it is... I was thinking how I can't F6 here. Oh, we're gonna have 4 tokens? Battlecry Goblin, I mean, I put it on top, they're probably not gonna attack though, right? But it is tempting. It does just kill them. 6, 7, 8, 9, 13. It probably doesn't kill them. 3, 6, 9, 12. Yeah, it doesn't actually kill them. Actually, 12, 15. Yeah, 1 short. Okay, so that's not the plan. I guess I'm just gonna get Ringleader and hope that all these tokens buy me enough time. Can't shuffle. Cycling. This thing gets huge. Do I think I just double block and chump. Doesn't matter which one I chump. I guess I should chump here because it's actually potentially more damage. I don't think I can take 12 and still win. They could still have cycling stuff going on. I guess I take more damage here to like Violent Outburst, where they choose not to cast Living End. Something I didn't think about until afterwards, but... Ugh. I imagine this is a favorable matchup, although I don't know... Haven't played against Jund in a long time. Like... Deadshot Minotaur, if they're playing that, maybe changes things. One of those things where you kind of maybe have to play it to understand it. Ringleader's looking pretty bad now. Not that any other goblin would look great here, so... Like I said, I think I may have already been dead. So now... a land is probably our best draw. They have to swing out. We take 6, 7. We chump here. We play Battlecry, Mogwar Marshal, activate. And I think that's enough to kill them. I think. That is not what I meant to bring up. Sounds like the concert's over somehow. Just like a very long pause at the end of the step. End of the song, excuse me. So we take 8. Definitely want to fetch... Well, I kind of want to draw a land, don't I? But it can't be a shock land. Shock land doesn't work. So I actually think I come out even by fetching a tap shock land here. Well, that'll do it. Oh no! I played him in the wrong order. I'm probably dead to a removal spell either way. Three, 6, 9, 10. I think this is Xaxes? We might have one overkill. Exacxies. There you go. There you go. Who told you Battlecry Goblin was a good card? It wasn't me. Couldn't have been. That was nuts. I mean, do you even... Are these necessary? No, right? Like, you don't want to get Furied, I guess. But their cards just... Their cards are castable, even with a Leyline out. So this is probably a worse Living End matchup than the other one. He just had to take his 2 damage, you're right. He knew my whole hand too. By the way, they could have easily played around that. Card is Nutty Oak Tree. I don't know. Well, I know why people don't play it, but the old ways are dead. That being said, I don't think you leave Battlecry Goblin in, do you? Yeah, I don't think you do. You just want a combo? Although, like, with Fury, the combo's less likely. Sort of tough. Maybe on the play, I want Thought Seizes. Maybe on the play, I want Necromenches. I don't know. We're going to submit like this. Their deck looks like a little bit scary, even without Living End. But, like, beatable. And the way we sideboarded doesn't really help us against the portion of their deck without Living End. I think... I mean... This is a combo hand. Maybe I was supposed to keep mulling for Leyline, but you can't do anything about it now. I just saw Snoop Harbinger and Fnatic, and I was just like, yup, let's go. Maybe I'm supposed to throw back Fnatic and hope to draw a land for this. That makes sense to me. Fnatic doesn't really do anything except ping them for 1. Oh, shit! Okay. Didn't expect that. How they are just... I don't know. I don't think that can possibly be the best plan for them. Yeah, I think the problem with Necromentia is that it's sort of a turn too slow. So that's why I was considering it on the play. Versus the draw. This actually... makes our, you know, sack all your dudes thing way worse. But they could accomplish the same thing by playing Endurance, and Endurance is just actually good. Oh, we're in trouble here. We should have mulled way harder to Leyline. And even if we draw it here, we're dead. The only good draw here is now Chalice of the Void. That's it. That's all we've got. What do they exile? Another Grief, which means no more black cards in their hand, probably. Skirk is so good versus Living End. Played against the Let. Yup, felt very favored. Crazy unlucky. Yeah, Skirk is really good, and that's why I like Void Mirror over Chalice, to be honest. If you're worried about Cascade matchups like Living End. Because Endurance is actually really good. And, you know, chalicing blue-red decks is, like, okay, but not really as good as you would think. But then it's like, we're already playing 4 Leylines, and Living End is the popular Cascade deck, so are you over sideboarding by having the Void Mirrors over the Chalices? And the conclusion I came to was yes. So I didn't... choose to... This is almost definitely a Violent Outburst. I don't know how I beat that, to be perfectly honest. They're going to have a 6-4, 3-2, and a 4-4. None of them have... I mean, that has Menace, so I guess I'm just supposed to grab Kiki and hope to draw a land. So I can do this whole Sling Gang into Kiki thing. Okay. I think that's my only hope. And this is my only tutor, so I have to play it and then hope I rip the land the turn after. I think. It could be crazy wrong. Not really sure. In the worst case, I have the Skirk Prospector for the mana too, right? Now they must have a Violent Outburst. Do they only have 4 Cascaders in the Jund version? What's the other Cascade? What? Do they not realize that they have a Leyline of the Void in play? I wonder. Maybe they just forgot. But I'll keep my blocker if you've got no Cascader. Or my attacker, excuse me. Oh, wow. I fell for it. I was asking what the other Cascader was. I could have killed my guy. Why didn't they just play it? Oh, I guess I could have fizzled it. I see. Well, I made a mistake. Now I learned. They need a creature target. I forgot about that. Oh, and now they just take Sling Gang. All right, I am dead. We need to mulligan way harder to Leyline of the Void. Because I guess they can remove it with Boseiju. Maybe I want to Thought Seize them too? Maybe slinging isn't great, but this feels like overboarding if I'm being honest. Maybe we cut to 23 lands. This is probably way too slow in most matchups. Most not matchups, most games. Yes, I'd like to play first. Yes, I'll keep this. This has the combo in it if we get there. So what do I tutor with this matron? They have no ley line of their own. So a Skirk Prospector might be good enough. If we draw a land, it'll probably be Sling Gang though. Did I board out one Sling Gang? No. I thought about it. Ooh. I think I can afford to wait. So I think I'm going to Thought Seize next turn. It means I need to play this mountain so that I can pay Echo. Yeah, let's do that. I'm probably... Actually, am I not paying Echo? I am paying Echo since I have the Thought Seize, right? Desert Ceradon entered the exile zone. Oh, it doesn't even say they cycled it, it just says it entered the exile zone. There we go. It's because I yielded so fast it didn't come up. It was difficult for them, especially on a one-lander, to remove Leyline. They may have a two-lander, and one of them is Boseiju. I'm gonna pay Echo, like I planned on. And then I'm gonna reveal this matron. Oops. And then I'm gonna cast Thought Seize. I guess we just take a Fury. They have the twin shot sniper, pretty neat. Like, I don't care about the Cascade cards. Yeah, I think I just take a Fury. We'll leave their hand open. The other argument is take Twin Shot Sniper and then force them to keep pitching things to Fury to manage my board, which is okay. Thoughtseize in we can't do Thoughtseize into Matron. You would cheat. That's what you're saying? Or you're saying last turn you would not have cast the Mog War Marshal? Fine. I think a lot of games you win with against Living End because you did some amount of damage and pressure beforehand, and then when they finally cast Living End, your Sling Gang is just lethal. So you put them in the position very quickly. They can't do anything. I can force them to Fury next turn if I want. They only cycled a card last turn, right? No, they pitched Grief and they drew a Living End, so this is still accurate. And I guess I don't want to play into another Grief, so I'll put Sling Gang on top. You know they have Fury, though. So, like, maybe I just actually cast Ringleader here. Or put Ringleader on top. I guess I can save Harbinger. Yeah, let's save Harbinger. Because we know they have no Grief in their hand right now, and if they were to draw it, probably okay. I do have 4 lands, but I'm still not going to get Battlecry Goblin. I think I am going to grab Ringleader. Because they can't really remove this Leyline in any kind of meaningful time period. So they've just been cycling things, but I leave them in the revealed because, like, as long as they're not playing lands, I know that their hand is, like, you know, all this junk. So Fury isn't instant speed. I know that. I was saying the reason to play Boggart Harbinger is that it has an extra power, but that's the reason not to play it when you know they have Fury and they're going to answer it immediately. You know? Like, you can force them to Fury by playing the Boggart Harbinger, but do I really want that? Well, they can't beat a Leyline, but we knew that. Oops. Trying to click the Discord. Joined so many new Discords. Where I have a local. They're announcing, well, it's my old local. My new local out here in Brooklyn. I just went to for the first time on Monday. Met somebody who's seen my YouTube channel, which was neat. I didn't realize it's been over a year that I've been doing it. It feels like, oh, feels just like not that long. I couldn't believe that somebody had seen it. I got a new modem in the mail from Spectrum. It makes me wonder how bad my old modem. Meadowkeeper. We don't know what they're on. This is a very good mid-range hand. Worst card in that mid-range hand would be Harbinger. We could just draw Snoop naturally. I think we keep this. Like, it's a mediocre hand, but can't mulligan for straight fire every time. And I think in this case, being that I want to draw Snoop, I am going to thin, because I'm going to have to play these 2 lands anyway. If I had the 3rd land without Snoop, or without this fetch maybe, but this basic swamp makes everything awkward, because it is the 1 land in the deck that cannot contribute to casting Snoop. I didn't mention it in the mana stuff earlier today that I was doing. Adding Graven Cairns helps you cast sideboard cards, but it makes it harder to cast Conspicuous Snoop, which is why I don't play that one. When I'm saying that the whole purpose is to get untapped lands, that sounds like it would be ideal. It's not. So this is blue-white, either Stoneblade or Hammer, depending on how you look at it. They've kind of moved up the curve a tiny bit. I think I'm going to save this. Let's thin the deck. Why not? You do want to combo in hammery matchups. So I'm probably going to look to kill whatever creature they play, if they play. And next turn I'll Matron for Snoop. They don't play a ton of interaction, if any. Windswept Heath is a little bit surprising to see next to Seachrome Coast, but any white fetch will do, I guess. It does make you seem more like Heliod or something when you play it turn 1 and don't crack it, but what are the chances that you're not cracking it turn 1? Although I guess if you cracked it turn 1 and then you played like Stoneforge Mystic, let's say, and you didn't have, or you played either, what the hell is that thing's name? The 1/1 artifact that taxes people. You know, it'd be good. They grab a Shadow Spear, which is very good against us. And they play Memnite, which is going to die. Because I can't kill Stoneforge without getting a Goblin into play anyway. So I might as well kill this Memnite. Esper Sentinel, thank you. It's just a white card and it's an Esper card, right? It's so weird. But I've been blanking on names pretty badly tonight. Make blue mana to assert our dominance against the blue-white deck. And just gonna grab a Snoop. I don't think I'm dead with any draw. They could Cauldron me, and then I'll wish I had gotten Snoop faster. So I think it just makes sense to get Snoop. There it is. So we're going to take 5 and then another 5 at least. And it's hard to imagine that a deck wasting space on Steel Shaper's Gift and Memnite could fit any amount of removal in it. But we'll see. This swamp's super awkward because if we draw a second Snoop, we can't even play it. Oh, it's a second Harbinger, which is like almost exactly what you don't want. Well, let's see what's on top. Uncounterably so. Yep. Play it. Matron on top. I don't think I need to leave back blockers because this has trample. So if they get like Sigarda's Aid plus sword viled in, I always call it viling in, plus sword, you know, dropped in. I can't block it. I lose to that no matter what. I have the 1 blocker for Stoneforge Mystic if they want to equip that up. I don't think this actually matters, so we're just going to attack. Do we need to attack? Not if we're comboing, but if we're not comboing, maybe. Like, this could turn into a weird Sling Gang Lieutenant race where the 1 point matters. And so since we can't favorably block, we might as well attack. Running no attacks, no blocks is usually bad. Usually. Sometimes it's right, but very rarely. We know they have Shadow Spear and Colossus Hammer. I'm like... Best possibles for us is that they play Shadow Spear. Whip it. Is this going to be... What? I guess they're hoping to draw a Pure Steel Paladin next turn if I don't kill them here. Because they see that I have them dead in 2 turns. No matter what. Which is smart. Well. They Solitude me. I'll have learned something new. One way to say I'll lose the game. I'll have learned something new. Nice deck top. How do you know I didn't have it already? Nice deck top. So I don't think necromentioning the Colossus Hammers matters. You can nab a Cauldra. They all capsed me. You almost certainly did. So this is not a Battlecry Goblin matchup. Fanatic's okay. Is that the last song? No. Why are the spaces so long at the end of these songs? So this is not a long matchup. We're just trying to combo them kind of ASAP-ish. We need blockers, but like not the most blockers. We can kill Memnites. I guess on the draw, maybe Chalice is worse on the draw. And then on the play, we'll take out one of these. Nah, Chalice is fine. Do we need to attack? And Sentinel, yeah. Yeah, kill Sentinel. I guess I can take out a Sling Gang? Because we still have 3 combo pieces. And, like, the game shouldn't go this long. But I do want to be able to block. Try this configuration. Oh, wow. I was just talking about being recognized. They said my videos are great. Do we keep this? This is like a really... This isn't good enough. So this has interaction but no pressure. And that's not what we want. So let's mulligan. Oof, this is way worse. It's still novel for me for people to know who I am. This is pretty good, actually. We can't cast this Thoughtseize, but we have a lot of live top decks. So I'm gonna throw back. Oh wait, what do I throw back? Because this is a 5? I guess I throw back the Thoughtseize. Because I can't reasonably cast it? That hurts. Yeah, I have to throw back the Thoughtseize. Even though it's like my interaction, but I guess this is more reliable in that I can cast it. I have to move. This black border got extra thick when I did that. There you go. Ringleaf Drum Memnite? Alright. Ornithopter. Ornithopter's a good one. Oh no. Pure Steel Paladin wrecks us next turn. We are not fast enough in the face of a Pure Steel. But if we get turn 2'd, we get turn 2'd. We kept a decent piece of interaction, but not a good enough one. We can still buy some time to draw the combo. They can't attack us this turn. Interesting. I wonder why they chose not to protect the Pure Steel. I guess because if I'm not... I don't know. I don't think that's right, actually. I am just going to slam out a Snoop here, I think. Because it'll give us info. As for how to play. Okay. That's info. It means that next turn I will be able to kill the Pure Steel if it doesn't have a thing on it. Might just have a Colossus Hammer here, though. Looks like they do. But they have to put them both on one creature. Oh my god. The space is at the end of this. I keep thinking that it's over. This is a good song, though. So. So we're not going to be able to combo them next turn no matter what. We know that. We know we have to block this no matter what because it is what it is. It's going to be a 2020. That's what I mean when I say it is what it is. I think we still have like 1 or 2 outs, but you know, I don't know. We're gonna vial in the Snoop immediately because there could be a Mog War Marshal on top that we want to pull off. Got a lot. I don't know what you're talking about. So we vial this in. Ooh. Called it. So all we need now is a Harbinger underneath here. But yes, they swapped the hammer around so that I couldn't just Munitions Expert their Pure Steel Paladin. We're gonna block both. Although, yeah, I don't think there's a reason not to block both. Just like opens you up to them drawing removal spells at some point. Like, I don't need to be at 20, but come on, Harbinger. I guess I would also accept Matron. We take those here as well. Nope. All right. I am going to be able to Ringleader next turn to find a Harbinger to vial in, but I guess I'm just going to tick the vial up. I'm never blocking with this Snoop. Is that correct? That is correct. I cannot win if this Snoop dies. and I'm committing to that. Maybe I don't have to show them that I'm committing to that, but I am committing to that. I am going to flash this in just to block. I guess they could, like... Yeah, we'll do it like this. They could, like, second main play a Stoneforge Mystic. But I'm gonna probably get 2 Goblins into play one way or another next turn. In fact, I definitely am. So I can just keep doing this and, like, insulate from a Cauldra, I guess. Snoop isn't the worst, but I can't win this turn if I pull it off the top here. Wow. Oh, that was pretty unlucky, I'll say that. So let's do the math now. How many turns do I get if I block with both this turn? I get 1, 2, 3. And if I block with 1, I get 1. And then I have to block with 2 next turn, so it doesn't really change much, does it? Ooh, Shadow Spear is good. And I guess this is the reason to double block the whole time. That I didn't know that I knew, but I apparently did know. And they can equip it. And I can't do anything about it. And I guess to play into a Battlecry Goblin being on top, I will... Although we can't deal 24, can we? Oh wait, this is 21, so I have to chump this. This is our last chance. Give me something. 1 is not 0. Actually, oh wait, now I can't crack this fetch to reshuffle. That's a mistake. I should have flashed this in and blocked. We'll draw another one off the top to see how bad of a mistake we made. Oh, crap. That's already a huge mistake. Because... Okay. Well... It's a huge mistake because... I can't reshuffle, but it's a huge mistake because I couldn't actually play a Boggart Harbinger after drawing a 2-drop. We wouldn't have got there, I guess, but it is what it is. On the play, do you want Necromentia? Probably not. I think Hidetsugu is just better. I can't believe how bad Ringleader was there. That hurt. Trashmaster on top would have been good too. It's another reason to have dumped 2 in front, although probably not winning that game if I do that. Maybe I don't want... Thoughtseize is even better here. Yeah, we'll keep it like this. They're not... I haven't seen a reality chip. That doesn't mean they're not the reality chip version. I don't think reality chip is good against us. Okay, I think we keep this. We have a redraw, and we have a tutor. So, like, we've got the turn 4 on lock. Okay. We're gonna reveal the Snoop in a second anyway, so. If they've seen our videos, they know that Goblins doesn't play Lightning Bolt. There's no reason to bluff it here. They have a turn 1 something or other. Hope it's Esper Sentinel and not Sigarda's Aid. It is Sigarda's Aid. Okay. I mean, it's not as bad as, like, you know, Ornithopter plus Sigarda's Aid on turn 1, so. Ooh, I can play that on 0, so they can't do Ornithopters anymore, or I can play it on 1, so they can't cast 1-drops anymore, which is pretty damn good, I would say. But they're probably going to search up Stoneforge Mystic here, and then they'll just get Kaldra instead. So I think I'm gonna... I think I still play Snoop. Because I don't think you do this Sigarda's Aid line if you have any 0-drops. You probably do it if you have 1-drops, but like... What 2-drops do they have that I can beat with this Chalice? I guess if it's not Stoneforge Mystic and it's just pure steel plus a bunch of hammers, they come out ahead by chalicing here instead of snooping. It's a tough call. Like, what do I lose to? I guess I lose to, like, Colossus Hammer, Shadow Spear, which takes 3 mana. It's a tough one. I think it's a race. I don't think this matters. I think it's a trap. Although I still beat a Kaldra, right? Alright, I still beat Kaldra. Let's do it. They gotta know what I'm tanking about, too. But not having the Harbinger in hand, I guess I'm supposed to weigh that into whether or not I play this stuff anyway. Well, not Pure Steel Paladin. It is the Stoneforge Mystic into Kaldra line that I was worried about. Oh, and they can just violin past this Chalice. Oh, that's painful. That is painful. I think we lose to that. We're just dead if they haven't... No, I guess they need 2 lands for that. Okay, I guess I'm not just dead. And I would have just died had I not played the Chalice. Okay, okay. I guess it was a good call. I mean, I'm not going to shuffle that away. Because I can just Pathlick Mons and win. If they have the removal spell, they will just play it here, right? I can yield to end step, not through the turn. Because I'll know by end step if I want to shuffle it away. Memnite. Springleaf Drum? You can't Springleaf Drum. What am I saying? Are they going to attach this to the Memnite? And then that's not enough? They're just going to die? Unless this is Dismember. Could be Dismember. Oh, I almost just hit okay. Is it this member? Here, we're gonna... I said I wouldn't do this earlier. Why is it not working? And save targets, okay. I keep almost hitting okay, which is not good. So, what do we need? They could solitude our guy, and we lose. But we need 35, the right number? Or 33? 32. 32, 32. 32. I'm not good at math at all. 32 is the right number because you get to kill Memnite and also them. Kill Memnite and Stoneforge and also them. That's the lowest number that's quote-unquote safe, but I guess they could like flash in another Colossus Hammer, so 42 is the answer, as it always is. This is 10. This is probably 20. I'm only gonna make a couple more. Although it's not over, is it? If... it's kind of over. This is enough. People talk about this line all the time. It is rare that you get to do it. Well, okay. But I'm just gonna do this. I can attack. It went from over here to over here. That was weird. This will let me pick the target if they block. That's enough slices. I don't even know what that means. So they're all getting stacked. They're all happening. I can't type to him. It won't let me type to you. GG if you're watching this video. You too. They did play well. Alright, so we're 3-1. We beat... What did we lose to? We lost to Rhinos. Well, we 0-2'd against Rhinos. I was gonna say we almost won, but we almost won one game, and it was close after we resolved the Necromentia. Like, we had the tools, given that we resolved the Necromentia, and it might change how I sideboard in the future. I don't know how much. It would make me want to leave in more ringleaders instead of fanatics. I think I left in a couple fanatics and I could have run ringleaders. Now ringleader is much worse when you side in like 8 non-goblin cards, but it still, you know, tries to find you the good ones. This is gonna be our last match one way or another. So if you've been watching this whole time here on Twitch, thank you. It's your first time here. Consider following. We play Black-Red Goblins all the time. It's not your first time here. I know you're already following, so it's all good. Wow, this is... I mean, it's only technically got one Kiki-Jiki in it, but... I don't think you keep Skirk Mog War Marshal with Kiki-Jiki. Because you can sack your whole board to get Kiki-Jiki out, but then you have nothing to copy. Get rid of this. Oh my god, we're going to 4. We'll keep this. Remember earlier when I said that Aether Vial operated as many lands in your very bad Mull to Forward hands? This is one of those cases. We saw two really, really bad hands, and then this one. Well, two really, really bad hands, a no-lander, and then this. Were those greedy mulls? I don't think so, but review the tape. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube, follow on Twitch, because this is where it's at. Today I'm streaming at 6:30, but often I'm streaming later. I usually only do one league, because when I do two leagues, I'm garbage in the second league. Didn't I just do the math? Yeah. Didn't I get it right too, I think? That's what I was saying. You leave this in. For sure. But yeah, you're not supposed to see crappy no-landers like that, but they happen. I think it's like a 2% chance that you get a no-lander. And I think it's like a 2% chance that you whiff on a ringleader as well. While our opponent is making their decision, how do I just like upload a text file here? Like, I don't see... Here, is it decks? Upload new? Paste to deck list. That's what I want. If this name already exists, what will they do? Black Red Goblins, this your deck? Followers? What a weird social media platform. They're still thinking over there. This is my deck. This is my stream's current deck. Learned something new today. Never done that before. But now, will it be a multiple? Yeah, it will. I kind of didn't want to ever do that, but I guess I could just delete the old one. I don't know, maybe it's a neat snapshot. We'll keep them. Who cares? Do something. I'm on 4. You don't have to do much. I am dead to a stiff breeze. Alright. Could be blue-white control, in which case I've probably already lost. Looks like it. No! Blue-red Murktide? Spell Pierce. Fuck you! Who even plays that card? Some disgusting Ragavan player, no doubt. We're dead. Okay, though. Don't keep one-landers with Vile if you can avoid it. That was my advice at the beginning of the mana stream as well. Don't start doing math and counting Vile as a mana source in, like, the average case. Because you will be sorely disappointed when you start keeping those one-landers with Vile. Alright, so this is Blue-Red Murktide. And they kept what looks like a counterspell heavy hand with just Murktides in it. It's something to think about. A lot of these Murktide players are getting too clever for their own good and cutting a lot of their threats. I mean, as soon as they play anything here, I'm gonna concede. Jokes on them, counterspell sucks because I can't cast anything. Correct. Jokes on them, you can't counter Mog War Marshal. Bet you knew that already, though. Because it's too bad. Some of you might ask, yeah, we mulled to 4. We won the 3rd match against Hammer, and then we mulled to 4 on the first hand against Blue-Red Murktide, and we'll see what happens in game 2. We almost have certainly lost this one. Wow, they actually countered Mog War Marshal. Shocking. Aggressive iteration. But yeah, some of them are getting too clever for their own good and cutting a bunch of threats. And so you're just playing 4 Murktides. I can kill 1 Murktide, probably. From this position, I can't kill an 8/8 Murktide though. So there's nothing I could draw. Assuming they have one piece of removal in their hand, I play Snoop, that's 16 damage. Let's not waste our time. So this is usually what I do. Thoughtseize is interesting, but like, do you really want to do that? And for somebody who cut most of their threats and only has Murktide, is Leyline better than any of these? Yes, but it's not clear that that's what happened. It may have just been holding up counter magic. It didn't matter. But this is not a combo matchup, I'll tell you that. But this is usually what I do. It's like a very light amount of sideboarding. You could do this. Even though Thoughtseize and Vile. Yeah, let's try this. Somebody who's as clever as I think this person is, though, is probably playing Torpor Orb, and I'm going to regret not bringing in Trash Master, but until it's a staple, I will play as if it does not exist. I mean, Vile is really good, especially on the play. Maybe on the draw you put in Thoughtseizes over Viles. They're both horrible top decks. They're both really bad top decks. Yeah, I think I like this. I mean, I think I like this. I've boarded like this a million times. I wonder if they're actually Teamer. They did play a Misty Rainforest, and a lot of people have been playing Tarmogoyf lately. This is a pretty greedy keep. I'm only keeping because I don't want to go down to 6. Delver of Farts, thank you. My girlfriend's alt account. She would hate that joke. I'm the farter in that joke, in case that wasn't clear. This is a greedy keep, but I don't want to go down to 6, and we have a Cavern of Souls, so like, I think this is fine. Okay. No, I fart. That's what I was saying. I said that. Don't make me ban you saying my girlfriend farts. Women don't fart. I mean, as much as I would love to get my Snoop killed by an Unholy Heat and then have Ragavan hit me, I'm just gonna play this Mog Fanatic out. Okay. Block. Okay. They're trying to Tails End me. Counter my activated ability. No luck, sir. Okay. Pretty solid draw. This is gonna die. We know that to be true. It is known. Another Cavern of Souls on top. I think I do want to draw that. So you kind of just want to put on as much pressure as you can. Unholy Heat, sure. Consider. And by the way, Snoop has gotten some value already, because we've decided that we want to draw another land, right? So that's pretty good. Do I want to play Matron? Actually? And just get Ringleader? I think so. Because I think Sling Gang is, like, more valuable. Yeah. Can't be countered. Okay. This is fine. I don't like it, but it's fine. Dress Down is really, really good against us. Alright, it's not that I don't like you, Delver Farts, but I can't keep looking over and seeing this message. Does she fart? How do I... How do I fucking just clear this message? Somebody. Can I get a mod? It's a real big honor to have your first message ever purged from the channel. I hope you continue to chat. That was just my own fault. So we would have gotten this Sling Gang Unholy Heated, like I said. And they usually, I don't want to say squander, but they do not often use their resources well. Just never seems to line up that way. You think this is Spell Pierce? I'm willing to find out. You know what? I can play around Spell Pierce, can't I? Let's reveal this guy. And now they can untap and slam a Murktide. But Spell Pierce me, please. Okay. They can untap and slam a Murktide right now. But if they don't have it right now, it's gonna be tough for them. They're looking for it. Fire Buff Canal and pass the turn. Alright. Hitotsugu Consumes All is a very good Magic card. We gain one more life by doing it this way. So I'll do it. We also get blown out by a Fire Ice a little bit more. But that's alright. Oh man, you actually have to make black mana for this spell. Alright, so Unholy Heat is good. We gain a life, they take a damage. We have 3 damage in play. This doesn't die to Kozilek's Return. Interesting. This dies to Mog Fanatic. Interesting. They already have land. I'm just gonna attack because I can't stop them from casting something good. And if they want to block this, they can. This isn't legendary? Not even legendary. It's not legendary because it's just the vessel of the all-consuming. It's not actual Hitotsugu. So they take it. Which means I am going to play Kiki Jiki and dare them to try and kill my Mog Fanatic. So they bolt the Kiki Jiki. We're gonna do this in response. Just to make sure it... Because they have instant creature, they would put land. This Surveil could make that a 3/3, and then we don't get to kill it. So I know I fizzled my own Kiki Jiki's thing, but it's okay, I think. It's just so much value in play, the Dragon's Rage Channeler. And we have infinite great top decks. And so, if you watch the 10 questions video, you'll have seen my explanation on how to sideboard in this matchup, and I said, just play better. It's like, we had a sideboard card that was really good, but this is not an easy matchup, no matter what your sideboard cards do. So, like, you just have to be really on top of it. And I don't know if we're favored, unfavored, but it's certainly winnable. And it doesn't feel terrible, other than the fact that you're playing against Ragavan and Murktide, which are some of the most toxic cards ever. And then Dragon's Rage Channeler, which you want to like because it's supposed to feel fair, but then doesn't feel fair as you're playing against it. Because you also have to kill it or die on the spot. Kill it on the spot or die. I guess those mean the same thing in the end. But they're at 4. A lot of good top decks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then Battlecry Goblin. Much better here than... ooh, see. Fury is a good one. Fury is a good one. I think they're still dead to a Battlecry Goblin off the top. Can I make the Battlecry Goblin big enough? Actually, no is the answer. The token that it comes with, I mean. Well, by the time I draw a card that isn't a land, I may find out. I may be able to. Actually, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, no. We're gonna take 6 a turn here. Our turn to top deck. Give me something. It's gonna happen sometimes. And it hasn't even happened yet. Don't worry. Well, this sucks. That might be it happening. Okay. I was really close to winning. This is now enough. We're just dead. I need to give this 6 power to get a goblin out of it, and I can't do that. 2. I can force them to block, but that's not enough. So this is just a blocker. If only they didn't have the Murktide. The Murktide is a blocker is what killed us, though. Ugh. Alright, I drew 10 lands. Good game. Well, that's how this one ends. Damn. Well, we 3-2'd. I got a Q. That's what a QP looks like now? We're gonna crack the chests. I think. Tickets. Field product? All right. I have 1 chest. Cracking it. Open 1. What have we got? I mean, it's neat artwork, but it is very, very bad. Well, next time it'll be a Ragavan, I'm sure. So anyway, thank you for joining me. We go out not with a bang, but with a whimper. You know, that is how the cookie crumbles sometime. Again, watching on YouTube, come follow us on Twitch and hang out. Links are automatically below the stream. If you were watching, you followed Delver of Farts. Thank you very much for the follow. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.